Okay, I've been thinking, okay, it's about the human eyeball frame rate, okay? So they say that it's around 60 to 30 FPS, okay? 30 to 60 frames per second is the human eyeball, like, capture rate, all right? Um, so that's kind of like, that's the gist of it is like, that's because it's hard to tell between 30 FPS and 60 FPS, or the difference between 60 FPS and 120 FPS. So I've been thinking, what if instead of the way, like, I guess, like, what if the way that you tell what the eyeball FPS is to instead have, like, thousands upon thousands of white frames and then one red frame somewhere, or like have, like thousands of black frames and then one white frame. Yeah, let's go with that. Thousands of black frames and one white frame within those black frames. And you play that at a super high FPS, and if the human brain can capture like a glimpse of that one white frame, then that's the human frame rate of the eyeball, right? Because that means that you were able to see that one white frame. Maybe, yes, let's say see, or at least tell that there was one white frame somewhere in that. So the way that you kind of do the experiment is you will ask people, look at this black picture, okay? Um, and then ask them if they ever noticed a white frame anywhere in that, or look at this black picture and tell us if you notice a white frame. Okay, two different approaches to it. Um, the problem with the second approach is more or less it's going to be people being like, yes, I did, and they're saying that because their brain thought they saw it because they knew they were supposed to be looking for it. And the problem with the second one, or the first, the problem with the first approach is more like they didn't know that there was a white frame in there, so they just kind of caught the little white frame as something that's like that was a mistake with the TV. It was just the TV doing that. Okay, so it's kind of that issue. So anyway, point being, what if we find the human eyeball frame rate by asking people if they can tell if there was a white frame and what time frame? So we have a black, completely black, and then we have a timer at the top that's going, and then it repeats every like 5 seconds. The animation repeats every 5 seconds, and the white frame is around like frame 500. You just say the time frame within when you saw the white frame, or no. Okay, I'm thinking about this differently. Okay, you sort of think of it like a beat to music. Okay, you ask the participant to look at the black screen and try to see the white flash. Okay, and then it sort of becomes this little beat. Okay, it's like try to so the frame is going through thousands upon thousands of black frames, and there's one white frame, and you're asked to do a little beat. Okay, every time you see that white flash, you just there you go. You do a beat. Okay, and then that beat becomes consistent, and then since there's thousands upon thousands, it's going to be the beat towards the white image is going to be like missed upon like hundreds of frames, but it'll be close. Okay, so you have the animation, you have the participant trying to match the beat of which they're seeing the white frame, and then once you turn the frame rate high enough, there's going to be a point where no human is going to be able to comprehend the fact that there is a white frame in that animation, kind of thing. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm doing a presentation. This was just a random thought in my mind. So, yeah, that's probably didn't make sense. But to summarize it, to find the human eyeball frame rate, get thousands of black frames and fill one of them with a white frame, and then play that at a super high speed and see if anybody notices the white frame. And if anybody notices it, depending on what frame rate you're playing the anime, and it has to be one frame. You can't have an animation and then have 5 frames filled up, because then that's 5 frames of leeway that you have to see the frame. It has to be one frame. Thousands of black frames, one frame, or hundreds of black frames and one white frame. It has to be one white frame. And you have to play that animation so fast to the point where you have to play it so fast to the point where it'll all look like black frames. One other issue with that is that it's also technology based. Depending on the refresh rate of the monitor, you'll need a super hefty monitor, that one. You'll need a real hefty monitor. And it can't be a strobe effect either. You can't have a strobe effect because that's a constant stimulant to your brain, that strobe effect. It has to be mostly black and then one flash of white within one frame, and that's it. Because if you have too much stimulant, then that doesn't really prove anything, because to the brain, if you have a constant flash of black and white, that black and white will become gray. And if you play that flash at a high enough frame rate, it'll start looking true black, but it wouldn't actually be true black to the brain, because it would be like 99% black. That's what it would look like. Okay. Actual summary of this is... Actual summary. Here it is. You have a whole ton of black frames and one white frame, and then you ask participants to see if they noticed the white frame, and if they did, watch the video again and create a beat to every time you see the white frame. And if that beat is within a few hundred or few whatever frames of the white frame with a little margin, then you'll know that that is the human frame rate. I don't know, okay? That's the rant for today, so bye-bye.